You're listening to the Screaming Paws Network.
Something's coming.
Stand by. Hold on to your hats. Here we go.
Welcome to the Screamcast episode 153. I am Sean DeRager, and holy shit, hold on to your pants, drop your drawers, put your shoes on backwards. Brad Henderson has joined us. What's up, man?
It's good to be back home.
I was channeling Mike Delaney for a split second because I've been listening to too much of Soft Pod. You were in Austin, Texas, at South by Southwest. Today, we will be specifically running down all 527 films that you watched during
Not that many.
3 days.
Wasn't that many.
But you somehow found the time to record two SOVPOD episodes, one from the Best Buy bathroom, which was pretty incredible.
My favorite Best Buy bathroom, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And from a Taco Bell parking lot.
And I ate tacos.
You sounded like you had a cold both days, but I'm glad you found the time to do that, even though you gave us the cold shoulder, Brad. It's going to be fine.
I was not feeling well, but I powered through the episodes, and I'm happy. I'm happy that it happened.
If you haven't checked out episodes 9 and 10 of the SOVPOD podcast, please do. The episodes are available over at thescreamcast.com. You can find them there, or you can just go to thesovpod.com and it leads you straight to those episodes, or you can find them on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever the hell you use to listen to podcasts. But we're not talking about the SOVPOD today. No, we are on the Screamcast, and Brad has graced us with his presence. I've missed you, Brad, so much.
I've missed being on here. I felt like I left the Screamcast. Like we were having a fight.
We somehow powered through. Stephanie and I had 2 episodes by ourselves. We were both scared shitless when recording, but I think we did our best, and I think her and I have found our groove. So I know BJ was able to join us, I think once. I can't remember. Like, it's so hard to get 4 people together for each episode. I'm just happy when we can at least do an episode when at least there's 2 of us. So thank all of you for putting up with all that.
Well, I think that this one we might have 3 people, because if you hear panting, it's not me being out of breath. It's actually my dog.
There you go.
So there might be a light panting you might hear through the episode, but that's just Jazz being cute.
When Charlie's in the room, you'll hear snorting or barking. So we've
snorting
had extra
you,
members.
Sean. You know it.
Yeah, sorry.
You know
Cat's
it.
out of the bag. All right, man. Let's talk about South by Southwest. You and Ash went down, and Ash wrote a couple articles on the website over at thescreamcast.com. Ash Varner.
It's so funny when people call him Ash, because here's the thing about Ash.
I say Ash. I'm not sure
that's fine. No, because he introduces himself like that. So when I first met Ashley was Ashley. So, but everybody that I know that knows him like outside of me, and then when he introduces himself, he goes by Ash, and he also goes by like Dean, because that's his, as Ashley Dean Varner or whatever. So, but it's hard for me to, like, when people say Ash or Dean, I was like, that's not his name. It's Ashley. And I like the name Ashley for a guy because it's unique. So I've always called him Ashley. But whatever. It's fun. Yeah. Him, this is our second year. This is his second year going, accompanying me to South by Southwest. So he was like covering kind of the writing portion. You can read his reviews online. And, I'll also give his opinion on it, because we definitely, argued sometimes after a film. So I'll quickly give his opinion if it stood out. Like, if he like, there's one film on here that I know that he really, really liked that I was angry at after I saw. But anyways, yeah, he accompanied me the entire time. I think we saw pretty much every film together. We kind of have a similar taste in a way, but I think he also trusts me a little bit more, trying to gauge what to see and what not, maybe to skip because it's coming out soon, or it's something massive like Ready Player One, which I'm glad we skipped that to see the movie that we did. But anyways, yeah. So it's
when they do big movies like that, because it's like at the time it was like, well, just wait a couple of weeks, you'll be able to see it, and I guess.
Well, it's not only that; it's just that whenever they did the same thing with Fast 6, when I think it was Fast 6 when it came out, which I really wanted to see. So they pit him up against smaller films, which is completely unfair. Like if they would put, Ready Player One against, Blockers or something else that was a bigger film, then that makes sense. But they did that with Fast 6. It wasn't even announced on the original schedule. It was announced during the fest, and it pitted up against We Are Still Here, the Ted Gagin movie, which, I went to go see that instead. And then they did the same thing with Ready Player One. They pitted it up against Hereditary, which it wasn't really against it, I should say. It was just that they put Ready Player One, I think, at like 10 o'clock or 9:30, somewhere around there. Well, first off, you have a long line at the Paramount, which is going to takes forever to get in and get everybody seated, and the movies never ever start on time. Plus, it was pretty obvious that Steven Spielberg was going to be there, which he was.
Right.
But then, this was clear across town. This is at the Paramount, and then the movies that were playing, the smaller movies, were playing at like Lamar, which is, where Fantastic Fest goes down, South Lamar. So the movie that was playing one time, that was a smaller movie, people wouldn't be able to make it in time. And plus, you would have 1,600 people trying to flock to come see it, if they all wanted to see it, of course. Which, I'm not saying everybody in that theater wanted to see it, but it was Hereditary that was playing, which turned out to be my favorite movie of South by, and also probably one of my favorite. It will be my number one for the year. It's almost one of those things where I can guarantee, like, I don't think anything is going to beat it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Brave
so,
words.
To start off, I think I'm going to run these through the way I saw them at South by, maybe.
Okay.
I think that's how I have them listed. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going off my notes here. So, first and foremost, which a film that comes out, I think, this coming Friday or next Friday, I can't remember, is John Krasinski, Jim Halpert's The Quiet Place, or A Quiet Place, I guess it's called. Which it was a great way to start off South by, which I was really happy about, because it was a horror film that was opening South by Southwest.
Nice.
This is the opening night film, which is incredible, which is so fun to have a genre picture open a major festival that isn't really a genre festival, which I was just blown away that they opened it with it. I was really excited to see it. Mainly because Jim Halpert I'm just going to call him Jim Halpert the whole time. Calling him John Krasinski is so stupid. That's not his name. So anyways, like Jim Halpert writing, directing, starring in a genre picture, which was just insane to me to think that Jim Halpert would do this. And here's the thing, I was a little, this is spoiler free, of course. I'm not going to spoil anything, for any of these films. But I was really curious of seeing the film, because I was like, okay, if Jim Halpert is making a genre movie, there's got to be something to it. Like, it's got to be some M. Night Shyamalan stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was really apprehensive about seeing the film, honestly, because I was like, I really want to see it. But if this turns out to be some type of drama, like in the brain, things are happening, but it's not really happening, I was really worried about that. But I think now people have known that it really is a creature feature, which I was really happy about.
And don't watch the latest trailer, is what I'm being told. If you want to be, if you don't want to be surprised on the creature design, I guess.
I would definitely want to, the creature, and that's another thing. I was like, okay, because I was in line. This is the first time I've ever done this. Like, I was in line with Jacob Knight and Meredith Borders and Ashley. We were standing all together, just talking, because we had like 3 hours to kill because we were there early. You got to make sure you get in because this movie's going to be packed. So we got there like 2 or 3 hours early. So we had plenty of time to chat and everything, and we started talking about it. I was like, man, if it turns out to be some type of like psychological stuff, I'm going to be totally bummed because I don't want that with this movie. I was being selfish about it. I was like, I don't want that. So I'm like scrolling through IMDb trying to find creature design people that were credited on the film, and finally I saw creature design, and I was like, oh shit, okay, there's some type of creature, but I hope it's not in like some psychological thing like how Monster was. Spoiler alert, but that movie's been out for like 2 years. But it turns out to be a creature feature, and it's a blast. It's a fun family blast, and it's people were harping on the PG-13. You don't even know this movie's PG-13. It doesn't come across as that. And plus, PG-13 movies that are horror films kind of kick ass. The past few PG-13 horror films that I've seen, other than the kind of the cash grab, moneymaker ones that pop up. But I mean, a lot of the whole Insidious quadrilogy now is PG-13. I'm still an apologist for those films. I love those movies, and they're scary as shit, and they're all PG-13. The Ring, come on, man, it was PG-13. The Ring kicks ass. Still to this day, it rocks the house. So anyways, great performances. Emily Blunt's great. The kids are fantastic. The creature design's really well done. I know that we kind of, are like, oh, practical stuff. There is some practical stuff, but I mean, it's a lot of CG creatures, and it's because of how they move. They're very fast and stuff like that. But it looks really good. It doesn't look cheesy. It doesn't look corny. It's got a great idea for not using a soundtrack, which is, very brave. There is a score in the film. There is music, but there's a lot of times where there isn't, and it really works. I think it's definitely going to be a big crowd pleaser. Now, whether it's saying it's a wonderful movie or great movie, I think people really like it. I was kind of like, oh, that's fun. I had a really, really good time with the movie. And that's all I'll say. People, however, are very obsessed with this movie, and that's fine. People like what they like. Next up was one of my favorite movies of the festival. It's called Relaxer. Now, Relaxer is not for everybody. I'll say that right now. It's directed by, I think his name's John Potricus, something like that. Anyways, he directed a movie called Buzzard that was in 2014. And he also has a movie called The Alchemist Cookbook. Well, anyways, Buzzard is one of my favorite films of that year. This guy is able to take like Napoleon Dynamite, The Greasy Strangler, and Tim and Eric's Awesome Show and put them in a blender, but tone down the craziness, and that's what this guy does. So Relaxer is a one-location movie where two brothers are playing video games. He challenges them to beat the Pac-Man, is it Pac-Man or Donkey Kong? Pac-Man challenge. Basically, it's a whole thing of challenges. Like, I challenge you to do the milk challenge, or I challenge you to do this. And he challenges them to sit on the couch and stay there and not even get up to piss to beat Billy Mitchell's Pac-Man top score.
Wow.
And that's kind of what happens. And then I'll leave it at that. It's gross. It's weird as shit. But it's really good. If you've seen Buzzard, then you kind of know. Buzzard, to give you, it's actually the lead that's in Relaxer's the lead in Buzzard. To give you an idea what Buzzard's like, this lowlife kind of piece of shit guy, he finds a way to take these checks that are kind of, I forget, is it like, it's not overdrafts, but it's kind of, I don't know where the check, like where there's balances on these checks that he gets that are very low amounts, but he gets a lot of them. So he cashes them and he's able to have some extra spending money that no one's going to notice. Okay. And then he ends up getting in some trouble. He grabs the Nintendo Power Glove and he makes a Freddy glove out of it as his weapon. And it gets really weird. But anyways, I would suggest watching Buzzard, Alchemist Cookbook, and his new movie Relaxer. If you like weird shit like that, then it's definitely up your alley. Next was a documentary, World Beneath Your Feet. It's about a guy, Matt Green, who has a website called I Just Walk or something like that. And basically he walked every block in New York City, and it took him like 4 years to do it or something like that. And basically it's just a documentary of him walking every block in New York, every street, everywhere he could, and taking pictures and documented it. You know, he doesn't have a home. He doesn't have a job. He was an engineer, so he's not like some kind of crazy person. He was an engineer who made some money, and he just got tired of working, and he just wanted to sightsee. So he documented this entire thing. It's pretty interesting. It is what it is. And it's he's a very charismatic guy, likable. So it's easy. It's an easy watch, and it's short. But yeah, a decent documentary. It doesn't really shed any light on anything. It's just about this guy. You know, there's no really narrative or purpose. It's just him trying to accomplish something. So next up was Unlovable. A lot of, actually, once we get into this, I'll mention that there's a lot of films directed by women that played at South by, which was another cool thing. Unlovable is one of those films. It stars John Hawkes. It's this woman who is a sex addict recovering, or she's trying to recover. So she goes to like these AA meetings and stuff like that. And she's trying to be a better person because she's like cheating on her boyfriend. She's just having a really hard time dealing with this addiction. So she tries to seal herself off from the world, and she goes to these AA meetings. And this person that like a sponsor, a woman that sponsors her, had the same issues. She goes, you know what? You just need to cut everything off. Go live with my my mother. She has this kind of so what do you call like a side house on a, like if you have a house and then you have like a building to the next of it, it's like a garage / apartment. What do you call those things?
I'm not rich enough to consider that, but I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah,
there is a specific name for it. But
she has this like side apartment, thing going on. I feel stupid not being able to think of the name of it. But anyways, so she has this like little cottage like thing that she lives in. And then the woman that sponsors, the woman that's the sponsor, she has a brother that also lives there that takes care of the mother. And that's played by John Hawkes. And has a little bit of issues, not like hardcore psychological. There might be some Asperger's there or some sort of autism. But very like fully functional, like autism. So he basically just lives there and takes care of the mom. And she has this relationship and friendship with him that kind of helps her in a way. It's cute. It's weird seeing John Hawkes kind of in a cute role and rather than being kind of a hard hitting, like, low life or badass, or someone is extremely intimidating. Like I find like when John Hawkes puts on his intimidating shit, he is a scary motherfucker. Like in Martha Macy May Marlene, he's terrifying in that. But anyways, it's a fun little cute movie. It's going to probably be one of those like Netflix things. I could see that being a hit on Netflix. So we'll see the status of that movie. I'll try to keep you updated. There's a movie called Upgrade I was staring at, and I was like, oh, shit. Next up, this one's for you, Sean. I think you'd really like this. For all the heavy metal fans, black metal, death metal. there's a movie called Heavy Trip. It's from Finland. It's the first Finland heavy metal movie, which is joke because, I mean, how many movies do they produce and how many are going to be heavy metal? So it's this band who has, basically just these garage dudes, garage band that is trying to make it, that's trying to play at this kind of this black metal, death metal show that happens in Finland. And it's basically them just trying to get there and creating a band and being popular in their community. And they're called Impaled Rectum is their black metal name. The music's great. It's got a great soundtrack. The original music for the movie is really fun. So really good black metal there. But yeah, it's a fun little movie. Next up was Elizabeth Harvest. How do you talk about Elizabeth Harvest without giving it away? Carla Gugino, however you say it. She's an amazing actress. She's very pretty. She's in it. It's got the girl that was the one that was pregnant, I believe, in Mad Max Fury Road. I think she was also in Neon Demon.
Okay, yeah.
But anyways, she's the lead in it, and it's a woman that wakes up and she's married, and she doesn't really know her past that well, and her husband is an older gentleman who's really not known what he does in life, but he gives her all this. She lives in this huge house. He says, all these rooms are yours. You can have anything. All these clothes are for you. These diamonds, this jewelry, blah, blah, blah. But he has one condition. He says, you cannot enter this one room in the house by any circumstances. And there you go. That's the plot of the movie. I can't really talk about anything else because it would just give stuff away. It's not that great. So I will just say that, but it's not for everybody. It was hard to find anybody that really enjoyed the film. It looks good. It sounds good. The acting is really good. But that's about all it's got going for it, I guess. Next up was Upgrade. Lee Wynell's Upgrade. So of course we talked about Insidious. Lee Wynell. I love Lee Wynell. I love his films. I love his. I love how he brings back kind of like old school stuff. With Saw and Insidious, and even like something like The Mule that he wrote with his buddy Angus Sampson. I love his style. So he has this new sci-fi horror film called Upgrade. It stars Logan. Is it Logan? Basically Tom Hardy. It's the guy that looks like Tom Hardy. It's Logan Michael Green. He plays in The Invitation. He's the lead in The Invitation. Okay. He looks like it's hard to believe it's not fucking Tom Hardy. I'm watching The Invitation at one South by. I was like, is this Tom Hardy? Is Tom Hardy in this movie? But anyways, Logan. I know his name's Logan Green. He has like a three namer. But anyways, it's set in the future. He is he restores old cars, and he gets into an accident one night, and he is given a certain gift after that, because he finds out there's some crazy shit that happened that night, and maybe wasn't just an accident. They were targeted, and he is given an upgrade. It's something that goes into his body and makes him be able to kick some ass. And it's a very kind of lo-fi action film, a lot of fun, very energetic. So I'm kind of excited to see what people think about this one. Next up, another one of my favorite films of the festival. This was also directed by a woman. Was A Shotgun. I think people mainly know I always forget how to say her name. Is it Makia Monroe? Is it Makia? It's like Makia. Makia.
Sure.
She's from It Follows and Independence Day 2.
Yeah, I always pronounce it
in
wrong.
The Guest.
Yeah.
So anyways, she's the lead in this. Such an amazing, beautiful movie. It doesn't do the romantic, silly tropes. It's a rated R love story, which, you don't get a lot of. You get these like PG lovey-dovey things. So Shotgun is McKay Monroe. She works for like a toothpaste advertisement company, and she meets this one guy who's makes sandwiches like at a sandwich shop or whatever. And he meets her, and he immediately just kind of just goes all out saying, "Hey, I want to take you out." And she's like, "Oh, this is a man who's weird," backs off. But he's very charming, and he's not really, pushy or bro-ish, I guess you could say. But he is kind of a bro at like heart. It's kind of weird how they use it. Like, it's like there's people like that. Heart. Right. But like, he's not rapey. Put it that way. He's not like a rapey bro. So, they meet, and then he, she knows where he works, so she goes in there, and he's not there today because he's at a doctor's appointment, and he finds out that he has cancer, a bad cancer. So she leaves. Oh man, I got so emotional during this movie. I get emotional just talking about it. She leaves the number for him and says, "Hey, I stopped by." So he immediately calls her, but then he's also having the worst day of his life where he's diagnosed with this terrible cancer, which all cancer is terrible, but this one is in a little bit in particular because it's very rare and they don't know what to do. So it's him friending this woman and becoming, love of each other's life in this time of need and, terrible times. It's so good. It's very real. The relationships are real. The conversations are real. The subject is very real. It sounds more of a cliche plot when you put it out like that, like guy's dying, finds out he's dying, meets girl. They have their life, this time span, but it doesn't hit any cliches though. That's the cool part. Every turn of the film is unexpected, and that's what I really adored about it. But yeah, it's a beautiful movie. Just get your tissues ready. It's really heavy. Next up, I think this is on Netflix now. It's called Six Balloons. It's got Dave Franco in it. This other lady, I can't remember her name, but she is married. She has a birthday party going on. She's trying to pick up these last minute things. She goes to pick up her brother, who's played by Dave Franco, and she picks him up. He has a daughter, and she realizes that on the drive back to the party, when they're still trying to get the food and the cake, is that he is he's having withdrawals because he's a heroin addict, and he hasn't had any in a couple days, and he's going to basically die. So she, because you just can't stop cold turkey with that stuff. You need to go, rehabilitate. So she takes him to kind of this rehabilitation center to drop him off, and they can't take it because these insurance issues. So she just has this wild night of trying to save his life, but also kind of this bonding relationship between the two of them. Really sad, really kind of depressing movie, but also, and it's dirty at times. Like it's because it's about drugs and fucking heroin, but it has a lot of heart. It's really, really good. So I highly suggest it. Next up was Wildling, which stars Liv Tyler and Brad Dourif. I was so amped to see this movie. The plot basically is this man who has this child captive who is protecting her from this creature that lives out in the woods called the Wildling that eats children, and she can't go outside or she'll be eaten by the Wildling. Liv Tyler plays the sheriff in the town. Brad Dourif plays the father, of course. I can't really say much about it because it kind of like gives things away. You just find out that she grows old, she's older, and she gets out. And then she realizes that things aren't exactly what he is saying they are, but there's something else going on. So there you go. But it's not good. It's not a good movie. It looks good. It sounds good. I think it will be one of those kind of like Netflix movies that pop up again that you just watch and you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. Another movie that I love the plot of this movie. I love the action, but the movie's just not good. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Agent. It's basically based off a manga. It is so basically it's in the world. There are these things called agents, which they're called demi-humans. A demi-human can't die, and there's only a few in the entire world, and there's 2 known ones in Japan. This guy gets into a car accident where he's riding a bike and gets hit, and it's like a really bad accident, but then he like gets up. So basically what these people could do is that as soon as they die, they come back to life. So there's 2 known ones in Japan. He's the third. So when they find him, they start running all these tests on him. They kill him just repeatedly. They kill him. He comes back. They kill him because they're trying to find out how to kill these things without them coming back to life. So what happens is that these 2 other agents find out and they go to save him, and they break in and they rescue him, and they're like, hey, we're agents too. We're going to kill all these people. And he's like, well, what the fuck? No, you can't kill these people. So then he turns against the other agents, and they can't die. And they're trying to figure out how to kill these people. It's really fucking cool, man. Like the fight scenes are incredible. Like when these agents are in a predicament, they'll just fucking kill themselves. Or they'll kill themselves in order to kill somebody else. Like, for example, like this, like the one guy has him like, he's like, has him, like his arms are like, he grabs him from the back and he won't let go. So like the agent takes the gun and puts it against his heart to shoot himself, and it kills the guy behind him. And then he just regenerates. And they're also able to summon these like other demons, like kind of looks like a Mortal Kombat like animality bullshit. It ruins the movie when they start popping out because it's like, oh god, it's fucking CGI fuckfest. It has so much potential though. The fight scenes are incredible, but it just doesn't work as a movie. Sorry, Agent. Next up was Pet Names, another film that was directed by a lady. Pet Names is a mumblecore movie at its best. First time director.
Whenever I think mumblecore, I just think of people just talking like this all the time.
Well, I mean, it's like in vein of like Joe Swanberg films. So,
yeah, which I have not seen any, probably.
Oh man, you see Drinking Buddies, you'd really like that.
You know what? I've seen Drinking Buddies.
Yeah,
I like that one.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Just this woman takes care of her mom, decides to go on a kind of a week alone out camping. She has this friend who lives down the street who isn't really doing anything. She says, hey, you want to go with me? He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so they go camping. And it's their relationship and them talking. But it's very, thought-provoking. The characters are very charismatic. Like, this woman's a really good person. Like, she takes care of her mom really well. She really cares about her. But she also likes to party and have fun and stuff like that. Just a very sweet movie. It's very, very good. So I'm hoping that pops up at some point. I think that's a movie that's really going to suffer from its release because there's no way to like cut a trailer to make it interesting. Like there is really no. It's a movie that doesn't even have 3 acts, but it works. You know, it's solely based on a relationship. Next up is Hearts Beat Loud. Nick Offerman's in this, so that should sell it already. Directed by Brent Healy, who did The Hero a couple years ago. Hearts Beat Loud is fucking fantastic. Feel good movie of the year. Nick Offerman plays a old musician who has started a record store. He's been in business for like 20 years, having a small record store. It's putting basically his daughter through college, or going to put her through college. His wife is deceased from a few years ago, and he's just kind of done with the store because it's not making a lot of money. So he's kind of like, rent's going up, so he's just kind of done with it. And he goes to his daughter, and they have this. He listens to some of her music because the music's a big thing in their life. We're making music and all that, listening to music. And he says, "Let's start a band." And she's like, "I'm going away to college. I can't do that." And he's like, "Well, just for a short time, let's work on something." And so it's kind of this daddy-daughter bonding element with music as a heavy influence on that. It's got a great soundtrack. The music that is done for this movie is outstanding. Like the music is like there's like 4 songs that are in the film that are just outstanding. Like I can't wait to listen to that shit again. I hope they put it on Spotify because the music's done for this movie is fantastic. It's just a very sweet, feel-good movie of the year, and I think. During the Q&A, I stayed for it with the director because I was very curious because there's a lot of things in the film that kind of target what is going on today. And he said he wanted, he loves movies that have a lot of hate. He loves movies that have a lot of violence. And those movies are great, but he also wanted to make something where there's none of that, where it's just feel good because that's kind of what he believes that this world needs at this time. And I really respected that. And I can see that in the film. And, I love crazy shit. I love uber violent shit. But having a movie like this on this level is just kind of bliss. It's beautiful. Absolutely outstanding. One of my favorites for sure. Next up is 8th Grade, which this will kind of be a big hit. Apparently the director is well known like in TV. I can't remember his name now. I know people are like probably screaming it listening to the show. I'm not familiar with television all that much at all, really. But 8th Grade is really good. If you have a teenager, that you can relate to this. If you are a teenager, you can relate to this movie. It's basically a girl who's just doesn't fit in, who's in 8th grade, who's going to 9th grade. And it's dealing with teenager problems. Dealing with her dad. Of course, the dad has to deal with it, which is outstanding father. It's so it's really well written and it's spot on. No matter what demographic in that sense or decade you're from, being a kid is being a kid. Certain things like social media come into play, obviously, because it's takes place in current times. But yeah, it's really kind of gut wrenching. It's a really fun, not so fun movie. But I think that anybody that has a teenager will enjoy it. And I really think kids will enjoy it too. There was, we saw it at a later screening. So when that happens at South by, they want to fill up the theater. So they start inviting people off the street. And there was like a bunch of kids that were in there, younger teenage girls, and you could just hear them squirm and laugh because they could relate so well. It was really, it was annoying at first, but I was like, oh, looked back and I saw their teenage girls. I was like, oh, this makes total sense. They can relate to this movie a lot more than even I can. And I have, a 12-year-old going on 13. So, yeah, it's just, it's a kind of a tough watch at times too, but it's really heartfelt. It's a really beautiful movie. So I wish I could think of the director's name. Bob Burnham. Burnham.
What was it?
Here, I gotta look at it. It's called Eighth Grade. Here. Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham. He's apparently here. Let's see. He's a comedian, so people know him from that.
Huh.
He played in The Big Sick.
He looks familiar.
Yeah. So I guess he's more of a comedian, not TV show. So, all right, let's see. Bo Burnham. People know who he is. Next up is another Netflix movie. I think this is on Netflix already. It's called Legacy of a Whitetail Deer Hunter. It stars Josh Brolin and Danny McBride. It is this kind of like pseudo documentary about this all-American hunter played by Josh Brolin, who is wanting to make this one big video of taking his son out and hunting a white-tailed deer. And Danny McBride is the videographer, documentarian, who it's not really a documentary. They just make these like hunting videos. It has a lot of funny moments. Jody Hill directed it. Okay. I laugh really hard at certain parts of the film. It's funny. It kind of loses steam a lot. Like it gets really, really fucking funny and then falls flat for like 15 minutes. And then something really fucking hysterical happens again and then just takes a nosedive. It's a really awkward watch because the funny moments are out that really fucking funny, but it doesn't keep up the momentum. It starts off wonderfully. Like the first 15, 20 minutes of like, this movie is hysterical. This is really good. And then after like the 20-minute mark, it just sinks. Oh. And then it comes back and then sinks, comes back. And it doesn't keep up. I think people will enjoy it, but as like with me, I'm not too big on comedies, so it takes a lot from me. But I've noticed that a lot of people felt the same way about it. And I thought it was just me, so I wasn't even going to say anything. And then a couple other people came forward, like Britt Hayes and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's not that good. And I was like, okay, good. I'm not alone on this. Next up was Jen, another female, Jen Wexler, who is kind of produces Larry Fessenden films and gets all that stuff together for him and works for Glass Eye Pix. This is her directorial debut, The Ranger. Kind of an iconic poster like they made. Man. It's very in vein of Psycho Cop looking. It's punks versus a park ranger, which sounds very, very fun. The movie's fun.
Jesus. Look at the poster and the punks and the trailer hooked me. So based on those three things, does it live up to at least those expectations?
It's fun. It's a fun midnight movie.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Next up, there's not too much to say about it because it really is just,
it's pretty much it's probably exactly what I'm expecting, and I'll enjoy the fuck out of it.
Sure. Okay, you let me know. Next up is Friday's Child, who stars what's the kid's name from Ready Player One? Ty Sheridan?
Don't ask me. I always confuse him with another actor. I think it's Ty Sheridan.
Well, I always get it confused with the writer of Sicario, which I think is Taylor Sheridan. So anyways, Ready Player One, kid, and Caleb Landry Jones, Friday's Child, which is shot in like 4:3. Ugh, this movie.
Wait a minute, like TV.
Yeah.
Okay. A box.
This movie. I don't even know how to say it. Friday's Child was my least favorite movie of South by. It's this punk kid who gets released from this kind of juvenile delinquent thing. Tries to start off his life by like having some dead end jobs just to get ahead. Can't get ahead. Some shit goes down. He meets this drug kid, Caleb Landry Jones, and some shit goes down. It's not compelling at all. The leads are completely irritating. Caleb Landry Jones has a good performance, but like it doesn't grab you. It's boring. It looks weird because it's 4x3.
What other movies have been filmed 4x3? Was a Ghost Story filmed 4x3?
Was it?
I don't know. I haven't watched it
See, here's
yet.
the thing, is that if a movie does it and you realize it, then it's doing it wrong.
Right.
This movie is just the reason, like, I've seen movies in 4x3. It doesn't bother me. But if it doesn't serve kind of a cinematic purpose, there's no point. And this doesn't. It's a drama. It's not shot well. It doesn't look good. It looks like it. I thought it was shot on an iPhone when I first it started. I was like, man, it's shot on an iPhone, like 4x3. Like, what the fuck's happening? It was moving on. I don't even know how to market that movie.
We will be back with Brad's rundown of 2018's South by Southwest. But first, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Hey guys, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Maya.
And we are Murder on the Mind.
Murder on the Mind.
We're interested in the scary, mysterious, and horrific things that happen in everyday life.
Ooh. From serial killers to mysteries and even a good old spooky ghost story. We talk about all things creepy all the time.
Weekly, and you can catch us on iTunes or wherever else you get your fine podcasts. Check us out.
Murder on the Mind.
Murder on the Mind.
Next up is Galveston, which stars Elle Fanning and Ben Foster. This movie's okay. I wanted a little bit more out of it. Ben Foster plays a kind of for hire for this a bad person, put it that way, and bad guy, played by Bo Bridges. And he gets in some shit, escapes, saves this girl played by Elle Fanning. They have this relationship together. Not like that. Well, it's kind of a love story at the same time, but basically him just protecting her. And that's it. It's like kind of a crime love drama.
Okay.
It's based off a book that was pretty well known that a lot of people like. It's fine. Next up was Brother's Nest. I am alone on this movie, and I think I'm the only one that didn't enjoy it. It's Australian. Two brothers decide to kill their stepfather and make it look like a suicide. It's a comedy, dark comedy. And a bunch of shit goes down. It's funny at times, but people love this movie a lot more than I did, so I'm probably not the one to speak about it too much. But I will say that I'm alone. Everybody loves Brother's Nest. Next up is All Square, which I personally, this was probably like even my maybe third favorite of the fest. Has Michael Kelly in it, who people may not know who Michael Kelly is by name. You may know him by face. He's a smaller character actor, so this is his first lead. His more popular role is probably CJ in Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. He plays the asshole security guard who kind of becomes the hero.
Okay.
He's so good. This movie is fucking fantastic. He plays a piece of shit bookie who lives in a small town, who is a bookie for a living. Took over his kind of dad's business. If you don't pay up, he breaks inside your house and steals your shit. But kind of a very lovable piece of shit. You know, it's a comedy. And so he meets this girl one night, and he realizes that he went to high school with her, and they had sex once. And so they're both drunk. They go back to her place. They have a night together. He wakes up. She's gone. But she has a kid in the house who's like 8. And he was like, you know, just having a casual conversation with him. This TV that he recently stole is hot. So he gives it to the kid as like a gift. And the kid's like, hey, you want to watch me play ball? And you find out that Michael Kelly's character used to be a pro player for a very short time and then quit for unknown reasons, which you'll find out in the movie. And so he starts like coaching the kid, and he realizes the parents are really into the game. So he starts taking bets on Little League games as a bookie. So it like attracts a bigger crowd because people are like, you know, instead of having 20 people having turnouts of just the parents, now strangers are coming by and taking bets on these Little League games. And it's a hard R. It's really fucking funny. Michael Kelly is great. The kid's great. It's just a really fun movie. It's really fucking good. And it's directed. I think this is the movie directed by, here, let me look this up before I say this, because I don't want to sound like an idiot like I usually do. Yeah, it's directed by John Hyams, which is Peter Hyams' son. But Peter Hyams is, you know, prolific director, really great. So this is, I believe this is his son's debut. Really, really well done. Very funny. Hard R. Fucked up. Really great movie. So I highly suggest it when it comes out. Next up is What Keeps You Alive. Directed by Colin Minihan, who is part of... I can never remember if it was the Vicious Brothers or the Butcher Brothers. I always get those two confused. Well, anyways, Colin Minihan directed, him and his friend directed the Grave Encounters films, which are fairly popular. So Grave Encounters 2. Then they did Extraterrestrial, which I really loved. And then they kind of like split. They're kind of doing their own movies. Like Colin wrote Stillborn, which is just released, which I highly suggest checking out. And his friend directed it. Recently, Colin did The Desert Bleeds Red. That's Jason Hornsby's book. It Stains the Sand Red, which I covered on, I think one of the first episodes, or the only episode I was on this year.
Yeah.
It's that woman that is trapped in the desert and a zombie's following her.
Okay. Yes.
So anyways, this one, What Keeps You Alive, it is a two women who are in love go out into the wilderness to go camping. Some shit goes down. It is a movie of survival. Really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Strong performances, good music. So definitely thumbs up. Next up was Weed the People, which is a Ricky Lake produced documentary about marijuana and its use in the medical field. Very interesting documentary. Movie was kind of ruined with the Q&A. I guess I'm trying not to focus on the Q&A as part of my review for the film, because I think if I left and not listened to the Q&A, I would have been like yeah, I'm not going to focus on it because it is true. I mean, I work in the medical field. I know that this is what works, you know, because they prescribe marijuana to many cancer patients. Marijuana is actually something that can be used in a lot of things that help. It helps with, of course, cancer. Right. You know, people are going this chemotherapy. I mean, you're putting babies on chemo and killing the kids, you know, and having the recovery from that makes them so sick. Well, these, you know, if the marijuana is used in a certain way, like oils and everything, it can really help with the cancer. It can minimize it. It can shrink it. The same thing is with, I'm not going to get into the whole medical thing, but anyways, it focuses on that. Focuses on how these oils can be used to help these children, and it has 3 cases of what happened when, one's a baby, they're giving the baby this marijuana oil because it's very interesting, and it is true. It's not bullshit. It's not propaganda. It's because a lot of people think, oh, marijuana, people get high. You still get high off of it, but it does serve a lot of medical purposes. Yeah, there was a series I don't know if it was a web series or something where they were interviewing these types of cases as well. So it's super interesting once you start looking into it all. Yeah, and it's decent. Okay. I'm trying not to think of the Q&A and the persona of the people outside of the movie. When they started speaking, I was like, oh no, it feels, I don't know, it felt weird. Anyways, next up was number 37. We the People was directed by a female too. Number 37, another female, directed from South Africa, actually. It is a take on Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, but with gangsters. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know how you're gonna get that movie released and people to see it, though. It's weird because it's another play on a very similar movie that we've seen over and over again, right, but just told in kind of the back alley drug world. You know what's funny? I was thinking about this earlier, because bear with me here, rabbit trail here a little bit, but with video games, it happens all the time. Every new video game is a reiteration of some other video game. For example, Far Cry 5 is a reiteration of Just Cause 3 and Tom Clancy, whatever the newest Tom Clancy video game was. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just with its own little, every new video game that comes out is some reiteration of some previous video game. There's nothing original there anymore, but those keep getting pumped out and making a shit ton of money. You do it in a movie, and of course people are going to talk about it, and it may or may not do well depending on, who's releasing it and how they sell it. Right. But it's how many times has even the best movie that has ever kind of replicated Rear Window is Disturbia. Yeah. With Shia LaBeouf. I think that's a very, very solid movie. And let's not overlook Abominable. Oh shit. Yeah, that's true. So, just another thing, but just told with, a drug spin. Gangsters. Right. Okay. It's fine. Next up was favorite movie of the fest, my favorite movie of the year so far, Hereditary. All right, so don't watch the trailer. Okay. I had a really good time with the Q&A. Elijah Wood hosted the Q&A actually on this one. The Q&A made me even enjoy it more because you kind of get in the head of the director. Mm-hmm. The director doesn't even look at it as a horror film, which is kind of mind-numbing to me. But he understands why. But a lot of movies, a lot of horror films inspired Hereditary. Mm-hmm. So Hereditary is about, it's a family drama. You know what? I'm not even going to say the plot because there's no point. Hereditary is ordinary people. Okay. The movie Ordinary People. Get my ass into the seat, Brad. Sell me on this without telling me the plot. It's ordinary people. The movie meets The Shining. Okay. Containing some of the scariest moments in cinematic history. 3 that I know of, but that are iconic. It creates an iconic noise, kind of like how The Grudge did, and certain kind of that the noise in The Ring
Yeah.
That you hear that eerie sound, like that whistle.
Ugh.
You know, it still gets under your skin when you even think about it.
Dude,
Like,
once you said The Grudge, I freaking heard it.
Yeah. Well, that creates iconic sound. It has some of the most horrifying scenes, like scary, legitimate scenes. Like I was nervous.
Yeah, but this isn't like a ghost story or anything like that. This is kind of real life slice of life stuff. Or?
I can't even.
Okay,
I don't want to go there.
Okay, all right.
I'll tell you what though, it's fucking terrifying. And when the director said, "I don't look at it as a horror film," it's like, did you watch the last 20 minutes of your movie? Because that is pure terror. There's one scene when it was happening in the film. You know, theater is packed. We're all pumped. It's a drama. It's a 2 hours and like 15-minute movie, but it captivates you. And it's like, I'm so nervous, but I don't know why. And it's got so many like mini creepy moments and so much buildup and so much tension. If Toni Collette doesn't win Best Actress at an Oscar in this movie, there's something wrong with the Academy. She puts out the best performance I've ever seen in my life. She is fucking amazing in this, like to the point where it shakes your bones because of how she is and how like everybody grabs you in this film. It's the guy that plays the friend in My Friend Dahmer and the lead in Death Note movie. Mm-hmm. He plays the older brother. Gabriel Byrne is in it. He plays the dad. It's just everything about this movie is absolutely terrifying. The score is chilling. Just everything about it. I mean, this movie scared me, and I'm desensitized. Nothing scares me, and this movie had me nervous as shit. But one scene in particular, the theater was full, and something's going on the screen, and I've never heard an audience so loud and cringing. Like they were legitimately frightened to the point where they were like almost screaming because the scene, like it's such a long scene too. It's terrifying how long it goes on. But like the audience was just so fucking loud. Like to the point where they're like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And it's like, "Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God. Like what the fuck is happening? Like, why is this so fucking scary?" But yeah, just all around, just amazing. Well done, shot well. It looks great. It sounds great. So good. But anyways, such a great movie.
Awesome.
So definitely see it. Next up is Prospect. This won the Audience Award. I believe it won like Best of the Fest or whatever. Ashley really enjoyed this movie. I did not enjoy it.
Oh, shit.
I think you will. It's lo-fi space movie, lo-fi science fiction, I guess. It's father and daughter are miners looking for this certain substance that's on the ground or under the ground, and it's kind of like a mining process, and they get a hint that there's a lot of it on this planet, and they land, but they crash land, and they meet a couple of people that aren't good, that want it, and they don't know where it is, but they know that they can mine it for them, and it kind of gets a little crazy. It's fine. My problem with the movie that I have is that I feel that there's really not a great script behind it. You don't like any. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't care about any of the characters. It has a great little plot idea, but it just doesn't execute it to its fullest. I felt the movie was boring. It sounds good. It looks good. All the cards are perfect aside from the script. I think it's really bad. So I couldn't get on board. I just didn't feel it. But anyways, moving along. Next up is Chef Flynn, a documentary about this kid who opened up, like, he started cooking like when he was little, but he was like really good. And then they opened up the house, kind of like a once a month restaurant, and just kind of follows him until his like big break into like New York City, working for like 5-star restaurants. And he's like 18. The kid's not likable because he's an asshole, because he knows like he's a good chef. He treats his mother like shit, but the mom's like kind of crazy, but they like love each other. It's weird. And it's 60 minutes, easy watch, but it's not the greatest. Next up was Support the Girls. This movie was probably put into South by because it was filmed in Austin. You know what? I take that back. I don't consider Friday's Child the worst. You know, Friday's Child was shot in Austin too. That's another funny thing. Which makes sense why you're the fest that, if you submit your movie from the city that you live in and filmed, or that you filmed in, it gets into a fest. It makes sense. But it turns out that both of the worst movies I saw were the ones that were shot in Austin. Support the Girls, like, it's kind of hard to believe that it was in South by because it serves no purpose. Like, it's just, hey, I'm not even going to talk about it. It's not good. Next up is Olivia Munn. Is that her name? In a movie called Vigilante, I believe this is directed by a female too. A different take kind of on revenge. She is kind of a beaten up housewife who is revenge for hire, but not like revenge in that. She'll just come to the house and beat the shit out of the husband and say, you give her this and then you never talk to her again. And so you have that one narrative working with another kind of a parallel story of her past, of why she's like this. It's not an action movie. It's very toned down, dealing with, that's why I said it's a different take on revenge. It's like, if you're expecting like John Wick, Atomic Blonde stuff, you're not going to get that. It's just very toned down, revenge movie. Next up was Bluebird and My Heart, about a ex-convict who is released on kind of house arrest, who gets a job at a local, or he gets a little apartment, and then he finds work through the woman that owns the apartment to kind of fix up the place, finds a job at a kitchen, friends the young girl who gets into some trouble, and then she kind of looks at him like a father figure. He steps in to save the day, that type of thing, and they develop kind of this friendship, but also awkward because she's young. So there's that kind of, it doesn't ever cross the line in that sense, but it just, it's one of the kind of like subplots to the movie. It's fine. It's good. It's well directed. I will say that. But that's it. Next up was,
right. How many more do you have, more. Good sir? Okay, cool.
2 more. Next up is Thunder Road. Or actually, you know what? Thunder Road won the audience award. Thunder Road's great. It's written, directed by the guy who stars in it. Can't think of his name, but it's just an awkward comedy drama. It's a cop who recently loses his mother, whose life is kind of falling apart. Just a very likable guy who just can't make things work. Really funny. And last but not least was, it was weird how they presented the movie because it was an untitled movie, but when I read the plot, I was like, this is Unfriended Part 2, it sounds like. What the fuck? And it turned out to be Unfriended 2. It was originally called Unfriended 2 Game Night, but then they changed it because Game Night's out, and they changed it to Unfriended 2 Dark Web. Really fucking good. I loved Unfriended, the first one, but they take the supernatural element completely out of this movie. And it's basically some friends This guy has a computer that he recently bought. He finds some files on it during a game night with his friends on Skype, and he starts sharing the screen so they can see, and they get into some crazy shit. It's fucking scary, man. It's really, really good. It's weird that a movie, I said this about the original Unfriended as well. It's hard to believe that a movie that takes place on a computer screen can be that compelling. And it is. It's even better. It's way better than Unfriended.
What was the one with?
It's very much like that. What you're about to say. It's almost. It takes elements of The Den.
No, not The Den. Isn't there one with Elijah Wood and
Open Windows?
Open Windows.
Yeah,
right.
That's not good.
That's taking place like through people's screens or something like that. I like that idea, but
this is you see the lead guy's computer screen, kind of like it's the exact same thing as Unfriended.
Okay.
The original.
I've never seen Unfriended because the whole concept, I'm like, ugh, I don't even know if I have the patience.
Dude, it's good, but dark web. It was weird because after the first screening, I was like, man, people are gonna shit over this found footage Unfriended sequel, and like people that I know that hate this type of thing came out and were like, yeah, Unfriended 2 is like really good. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, dude, it's like legit good. And I'm like, okay. And I go on to the next person and it's like, hey, you see Unfriended 2? Oh, dude, it's so good. And I'm like, is people like, what's going on? This is a movie that I expected.
At just a computer screen?
Yeah.
Like I'm on Skype with you right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at my little windows and stuff. You're just looking at that and they Skype back and forth with people.
You're looking at if someone is sharing the screen with you. Like if you're in IT and they share screen.
Okay.
And you just see the lead actor's screen. So you see all the the windows pop up with Skype of people talking, but you solely see their screen.
Gosh.
That's the entire movie.
I hate that idea. Like so much, but it works.
It's so good. Unfriended 2
I hate that idea so much.
It's crazy how good Unfriended 2 is. Like it shouldn't be that
funny.
good.
Okay.
But it is. I like I said, I like the original Unfriended.
Yeah.
But it's a supernatural movie. But they take the supernatural element out of the sequel. No relation. It's not really a sequel. It's just another story.
The presentation of it.
Told as the original was, through this game night with Skype with these friends.
All right, man.
Dude, I'm
gonna give it a shot just for you, Brad.
It's so good. But anyways, that's it. That's South by.
Very nice, man. Wow. There's so many movies. I wanted to ask you, like, I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, how many movies do you watch per day when you go to these fests? Because you kind of drop off the face of the earth in a sense from like like me texting you. Like normally we text back and forth and stuff. Like when you go to these festivals, you drop off the map other than your kind of mini reviews of what you're watching and what you've seen will pop up on your feed. But other than that, like I don't hear like from you at all.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I send like texts like to family, and I mean I think I text you a couple times.
I'm alive. But I had a hot dog.
Yeah, the tweets that I usually send out are only tweets that I enjoyed the movie immensely.
Right.
I don't tweet about everything because I don't want to do really negative. Because people that are like companies see that. And like, I'm not one to be like, oh, this movie sucked. I want everybody to know it sucked. I'm not that type of person. So I usually don't talk about films negatively when they're pre-distribution. Like once it's released, and I do it on the show because I mean, fucking Magnolia and Magnet and IFC is not listening to this show, so I can say whatever I want. But I publicly don't want to put it on a public platform because people search, that's why they click on South by. Like companies do that, that's what they look for. And I don't want to negatively impact a movie from distribution because I think every movie needs to be distributed. Yeah. Whether it's good or not is a different thing.
I'm glad you were able to get all these watched and report on them. I'm glad that you were, like I said, on episodes 9 and 10 of the SOV POD, we're able to get those in. But we missed you here. We're glad to have you back.
No, I will be back. Yes.
Are you into super secret societies? Are you into pentagrams and candles and secret chants and nude women and... Wait a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back up. Do you like cool, super secret shit? If you do, maybe you want to become a member of Club Scum. It's our exclusive Patreon. It's $2 a month. You get 20% off all Screamcast merchandise over at the Screaming Pods store. You get access to exclusive Club Scum members only bonus podcasts, especially the one that's going on right now that I got going called Sean's Stack. You'll be eligible for surprise drawings on some cool shit, and all around, you'll be a part of this cool, super secret society that you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to go trudging through the forest wearing a cloak with a Ouija board, carrying all the candles. You don't have to do all that. You can just go to thescreamcast.com, click on Club Scum, sign up, $2 a month. You get an awesome exclusive membership card that may or may not summon awesome demons. If you haven't signed up for Club Scum, you're missing out. Do it today. Mike Delaney tweeted out that the next SOV POD will be out on the 9th. Monday, the 9th. You're listening to this episode probably midweek, the first week of April. So I want to thank all of you guys for listening. Please, as always, check out all the other great shows over at screamingpods.com. I have capped off the shows at 16 shows. So some shows produce more than others, and now I'm kind of in like development mode of the network. I want to kind of see how each show is performing and kind of, I know it's a very interesting experiment for me. So now I'm kind of like moved from gathering shows into more of like, I don't know, nurturing a little bit, I guess you can say, the shows that may need it or whatever, and hopefully get people listening to those shows even more and building those audiences. So I had to cap off the shows. Bringing on shows. I've had so many requests lately, especially from a few like really cool horror shows, and I've sent nice replies back. And kind of gauging on all the emails I get from people, I'm probably going to create some sort of contact form specifically for requests, and that way, if you have a show and you want to be considered for screamingpods.com, you'd kind of go into an email folder or something, and then I'll be able to build things. But the interest has really blown me away of shows kind of dropping me a line and wanting to be a part of it. So that, that's cool. Well, thank everyone for the interest. And I am open to building up the network. It's just, I need to cap it off and kind of, nurture it a bit. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, Brad? Gotta,
I get what I pick up what you're laying down.
Picking it up. But, so that's been really cool. So check that out. It's a nice little variety, I think. As always, you can find us over at thescreamcast.com. You can find the Screamcast there. You can find episodes of the Sovpod and episodes of Xenopod. A new Xenopod from the year 5000 is coming very soon with special guest Tom Nix. So I'm very excited to get that one out for everybody. Please give some wet, sloppy love to our sponsors. Buy Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays. Give them some lovin'. We'll have a new Vinegar Syndrome episode probably later on this month. I imagine we'll be getting to that. Coffee Shop of Horrors. Use the code Screamcast. Get 10% off your order there. Of course, if you're looking to buy movies, go to grindhousevideo.com and check there first. They're really good about taking pre-orders. They package things up lovingly, and they actually, most of the time, if you do a pre-order, you're going to get it a week or two before every other store starts sending them out. Big thank you to Wolfmen of Mars for letting us use their music, and a huge thank you to Kevin Spencer for designing our artwork. That's going to do it for this episode. Rate and review on iTunes and all that bullshit, or wherever you listen to. Stitcher.com. You can rate us and review us over on Google Play. I don't know. There's tons of places you can listen. Check those out. We'll talk to all of you guys next time, where we will be covering Brad's favorite movie of all time, Class of 1999. Tune in and hear Brad orgasm throughout the show.
Yes.
We'll talk to all of you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.